sat in a third carriage of the train to Blue Arch. Only a few minutes into the journey, Keita was already contemplating throwing himself onto the tracks. The noise was unbearable. The relentless clitter-clatter of the engines, the high-pitched screech of the wheels against their metal guidelines, and the jumbled creaks and groans of about 1,000 Chukaka men, women, and children, and a screaming baby chatting all at once. He knew, being Chukaka himself, how difficult it could be to keep your jaw clean, what with having to eat, but by Torka, did none of these people have any hygiene at all? Keita's father might have died when he was 8 years old, but he'd made sure Keita knew to grease his jaw 3 times a day with oil and a joint brush for at least 2 minutes. Glaring down at the book in his hands, he attempted to concentrate on its contents, but to no avail. Defeated, he propped his legs up on his bag, which sat on the empty seat next to him, pulled his dot out of his pocket, put it in his mouth, and turned on some music. Outside, the pitch-black tunnel walls slid past, flecked and marbled with small iridescent stones and bits of metal, and from time to time Keita could spot the yellow outline of an open pod window and a shadowed metal face staring down at him. It wasn't much of a view, but then again Keita supposed the real view would present itself in about 5 hours when the train arrived at its final stop. As the train chugged through a patch of twining blue vines, Keita fingered the folded-up pamphlet in his coat pocket. Blue Arch wasn't quite as known for its architecture as Torkal, of course. What could beat the capital city, with its ancient history and above-ground tombs, including the tomb of Torka himself? But it was a metropolis of modern society. Everything happened in Blue Arch, named for the towering arched building in its centre, a shining example of Chukaka engineering prowess. It was certainly a far cry from Vela, the city Keita came from. A dingy mining city with a rust sickness problem which frequently suffered from cave-ins. Again, he wondered what in the world had made him sign up for the military. Sure, his aunt was due to retire soon. They needed the money to take care of Keita's sister, but still. This journey was already bad enough. The thought of spending the next 2 years sleeping in a cramped barrack stinking of grease made him feel even worse. But then again, Keita was being a little bit dramatic. Being in the army paid well, over twice as much as working in the mines, and if he rose through the ranks, it was a pretty good way to earn renown. For all he knew, he'd emerge rich and famous and would never have to work another day in his life, assuming he didn't die, of course. But right now, it was getting cold. Keita was exhausted. All he wanted was to arrive at Blue Arch and go to bed in his hotel room before he'd be damned to the bottom of the ocean by some instigator soldier.